Hello, folks. This is I Want to Believe Facebook Live. It's all on Canada, the 51st state, literally the coming end of Canada as we know it. If we don't pursue Donald J. Trump's offer, Canada, the cherished 51st state, the one and only offer. I've got my last email, probably I shouldn't say it is the last. It's likely the last because it's a doozy. It came in late last night while I was sleeping. And of course, this morning I get up, I had a very good sleep, catching up after a very chaotic couple weeks. But I've caught up on sleep here today. And of course, I go through that. And of course, I see a lot of friends and followers sharing posts that are just not real. It's more what I call conservatives, and it's not an attack on Canadians. It's really an attack on our regime parties here. I call them Canadian Conservative Party of Canada, the Conservative Party, and I call the Liberal Party of Canada the Libtard Party. This is Whig Tory baloney. Now, folks, this is what I feel is probably my last communication with the United States of America Ambassador Mike Waltz as the month comes to an end, because it's a doozy and it addresses a lot of the baloney we've been seeing. People desperate, posting fake annexation claims by Donald J. Trump to fake claims on Mark Carney and the evil of the Liberals. And basically, if we just vote right, vote for conservative, everything's going to be okay. I can tell you it's not okay. My last email from numero one, number one head ambassador in the entire world, leader of the United Nations Security Council, holder of presidency this month, giving Donald J. Trump his war powers. That's right. And it's not war powers. The correct terminology, his ability to launch a military operation on Iran. He did so entirely in his powers on the UNSC stage as president and leader of the direction of the United Nations Security Council, which is this month epic in scale, epic what's happened with Iran, that should be teetering off in the next less than few weeks. It's almost over, contrary to all the baloney and media. Baloney the Canadians get hammered with so hard. So I've got my last Friday email from the UNSC. What was that all about? Well, it's entirely all about you, Canada. It's all about you. And others, other losers. If you guessed UK being one of the biggest losers there, you'd be 100% accurate. I'm going to go back in time because I think a lot of Canadians can still grasp this concept. When COVID-19 struck and that narrative, it's not about all the evil that came with it when I talk about this. It's about the procurement, the advancements in technologies, the ability to move forward in production, in strategic delivery around the world and all of that. Clearly, USA blew everybody else in the world out of the water. Why is this important? Why do I go to it? Because this was a battle of the UNSC. Who is the best? Who can get this delivered, done, sent out in value and supply chains? And clearly, the winners per pound, per capita, by mega leaps of miles were USA and Russia. And Russia came out first. Russia had an epic, big sphere of influence impact where it delivered to many countries in its sphere of influence. USA didn't come out right away. It was a different version. Whether you believe in all this or not, they delivered in a big way, outpacing Russia 3-1. China was technically second place, but only in China. Very limited sphere of influence, which shows you quite a bit. As for UK and France, everybody, they fell entirely on their asses. Losers. And I say that. Total, absolute losers. Other European Union nations delivered later on. They didn't come close to USA, Russia, or even China. They came later. Other countries outside of that came later. And that shows you that UK and France are no good for sweet fuck all in the world today. I'm sorry that bum hurts a pile of conservatives and liberals. I know, no, it can't be true. It was true. And it showed all the allies of World War II, USA, China, Russia, that those two countries are good for sweet fuck all. Which brings me to my last email on productivity, on manufacturing, on advancements, R&D, productivity, all of it. All of it. Canada, you don't rank anymore. You're not even close. You haven't been for decades. You've been falling behind at an unreal, epic pace. You are a failing nation. That has nothing to do with the United States, but everything to do with your liberal and conservative government. Why do I pick on the liberal and conservative governments? Because they're the only governments who've held power in Canada since our inception. Now, that's right. Only parties to ever hold the reins of power in both prime ministerial and official opposition, with slight breaks, with the Bloc and others achieving it, really versions of conservative or versions of a pink light liberal. Really, honestly, folks, that's as far as we've ever gotten in this country in evolution, which means none, zero, zip, none whatsoever. You have, Canadians, a serious problem. You do not keep up with any kind of R&D. You do not keep up with technological advancements. You do not increase the knowledge base of your Canadian people. In fact, your Canadian people, your subjects, have never been so stupid. I don't just mean that in critical thinking and the rest of it, which is self-evident to anyone who looks at our country. It's pathetic that this isn't a people of a first world nation. This is more like a third world nation's mentality. People can't look at facts anymore. They just, no, my party told me. And I'm not attacking anyone here. I tagged my childhood friend, Aron, Tanis, Scraba. We've been friends since we were just little knee-hires, preschool, all the way up. And I tagged her because, she falls victim to too, and everybody does. Everybody does. I'm not attacking, but I'm making this video so all conservatives, even liberals, NDP, all the rest of it, because it's all garbage. We have been destroying our own country by allowing our unregulated politicians with zero checks and balances, absolutely nothing in the way of accountability or actual responsibility for them to do the right thing ever. And they don't. And it shows over all the decades. It's measured not only by the United States of America, but by China, by Russia, by so many other countries, lots of countries not so friendly to our system or our way of life. Never have been. And your filthy, corrupt politicians, whether you want to hear this or not, Pierre Poilievre's road of, we're going to save auto, we're going to end Chinese EVs, we're going to join the USA, we're going to do all these things. It's all for naught, Pierre, because you've always participated, as you did in 2008 and 9, in bailouts. Because nothing you say matters, because there's no responsibility and accountability. You're in a flawed system. You know it's flawed. You've participated in the fraud, the flaw. You were instrumental in the China-Canada FIPA deal. You were the committee chair. Nothing you say today is remotely honest when compared to your entire history of your 8 years in power under Stephen Harper, where you held the reins. And when you held those reins, you did everything the Liberals are doing now. Not at the same rate, but you designed all of it. You designed all our socialism. You went with all of it, equalization. You went with all the major changes towards China. You lie. You lie today. You say, oh, you're going to take a different stage. We're going to amalgamate with USA. I'm telling you right now in Mike Waltz's final email. This is for every Canadian. It's undeniable. It's signed, sealed, certified by the United Nations Security Council. He's holding the reins in presidency. Donald J. Trump's right there too. Folks, they tell you Canada is no longer effectual or competitive on any of these industries. Tertiary, haven't been for a long time, can't keep up with AI, can't keep up with any of it because you're a failed country. You're not even a real country. You never have been. You've only existed at the good graces of USA's open door policy with you and subsidization. And you still can't deliver. You won't deliver. You claim 2% on your NATO, Mark Carney. We've hired so many foreigners. We've got so much with China. That's not going to win you the USA. USA could give a shit less about you and your narratives. You're going down. And they're going to watch you economically go down. You are Canadians going down at an epic scale, much, much higher than any other Western democracy. Yeah, you're the worst in the G7. Nobody else is doing as bad as you are. And you should all feel it. You should all know it. And you can say, yes, it's all Mark Carney. I even look on my page. I'm upset at the fact that people can't post anything other than liberal. We know about that garbage. But do you know that it's all garbage? Do you understand why we're Canada, the 51st state? Do you really get it? Because I'm seeing the falling off of activity. I think people are like, this is just another room for conservative lunatics who can't speak Republican, can't even speak high Democrat authority. You're still down in la-la land. You can't understand the fact that your industries are crumbling. You keep reverting to worse and worse level industry. Tertiary up here, aka high-paying jobs. Primary down here, shit-paying jobs. Anyone telling you any other basic reality and truth other than that is a fucking liar. And they're known as liberal and conservative. And they're in the plenty. I know because most of the premiers of the provinces are conservatives. And these are the industries they're backing in a march towards China. Why does Pierre Poilievre and any of you conservatives never bring that up that, hey, we got 7 of the premiers going with Mark Carney at a rate of 100%. Did you see Daniel Smith and the methane emissions and all the other crummy crap? The carbon pricing signature deal to move pipelines and natural gas pipelines expanding to China more and more. Did you just hear about the microchip Communist Chinese Party, the semiconductor and microchip company that's all involved in everything Iran and all of their military equipment? Have you noticed that? That's going to be in all those Chinese EVs coming to Canada. Oh, and sure, Pierre Poilievre says, we're going to end all that. Don't worry. We're going to win our automotive sector back with the United States. I am sorry to break hearts, but Canada's automotive industry has lagged USA's automotive industry in robotics, in automation and now in AI by many, many hundreds of miles, decades in fact. No upgrades, put it all in your pocket, enrich all these CEOs all over Canada like every other Canadian-run crown corporation, all of it. You can say, oh no, but those are private, Dave. No, they have high crown salaries, high crown bullshit, all to enrich politicians elected and then the many more thousands appointed. That's how it works. Regulators, liaisons, boom, boom, boom. They just dump it on, and those industries pay them all out. Instead of putting the money back into the industry, back into R&D at a rate at least similar to at least our southern neighbor, the United States of America. But that doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for decades, which means conservative, liberal, liberal, conservative, liberal, liberal. Why did none of them address it? Because they all got stinkily rich. They're corrupt. You're in a broken system. The fix of Canada, everybody, and why I go into Canada, the 51st state, is because the real fix of Canada is acknowledging that you can't win with elections and political parties in a broken system, an old world order system that has not adapted, has not changed with the times since 1867. It runs entirely the same pathetic, broken way. The problem is that resources don't deliver anymore. Advancements and the human resource deliver much, much more. Do you want to know how to prove that? Just go south of the border. How much of their economy is based on the human resource? And they have a $30 trillion economy for what? 341 million people. Divide that out by Canada and then compare Canada's economy to them. You're extremely lacking, losers. Is that USA's fault? Huh? Has it been their fault for the last 3 decades? This isn't new. It didn't just come in last week. We can't keep wiping the slate and saying, oh, look, all these new problems. When has your unemployment rate in Canada ever been under 2%? When has Canada ever had an educational surplus across every industry for Canadians, an educational upgrading surplus? You have a deficit, dumbos. I have to talk like this because these are legitimate, real, hardcore facts that a rational, critical thinking adult who has children, do you people have children? I know I do. I very much care about their future and where they're going to go as best as they can. And I struggle with that each and every day of my life. Another reason for Canada, the 51st state. Now, folks, changing our system looks to be nearly impossible. It looks like a hard, impossible road met with a brick wall called the Crown, with all kinds of pitfalls, hula hoops on fire, jump from a tall building, land in a bucket of water 150 stories up. That looks to be impossible. And I already know as I pursue how hard it is and how many traps, how many systems in place to block you at every turn from addressing these core truths that are undeniable real truths. And it really is only one solution, and it took the removal of a presidential veto to deliver that. And that was the good, God-blessed graces of Donald J. Trump. in November of 2024, winning that election. And what did he do in early December? Canada, the 51st state, which he's been hammering home over and over and over again. It becomes less and less as USA deals with, well, we have to replace Canada now. They need to go the economic destruction route, which you are, gleefully and blindly. You tell yourselves that if I just elect the other party, like the last 150 plus years, everything's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. It was never okay last time, Stephen Harper. It was never okay last time, Brian Mulroney. It's never, ever really been okay. It's always been the same epic lies. You don't have the productivity, not the Canadians don't work, but because nobody can invest in the R&D, the advanced technologies that come out, the upgrades in machinery and process, the critical infrastructures required, because Canada isn't designed to deliver that. Because again, why? We're an age-old, broken system that has no real viable place in the world today. You're at a point where your resources don't outweigh those advancements, the march forward of the world. It doesn't matter how many resources you have. You need to change your system. You need to do that now. Again, the Crown has designed Canada's constitution so that it's impossible to change it. It's rigged. An age-old, 150-plus-year-old rigged system from a world of 5,000 years plus history of lying, cheating, raping, thieving, murdering, enslaving, subjugating, worlds of peasants, serfs, savages. And we are still in that reality today. What is the path forward? The path forward is to accept this reality and understand that USA is our best hope. Join the $30 trillion economy. Turn it into a $40 trillion economy. Take your place in statehood. Use the great achievements you have as a country to advance America. They love intellectual property. They cherish it. They will take that. The Supreme Court will take the best of everything you've created in your limited system and discard the rest. That's true. But it's you, the people, who will discard that. All those things I see as impossible to get done regionally and federally in Canada is all wiped away immediately on application for Canada, the 51st state, aka an application by Prime Minister and Governor General to Congress for the Enabling Act. That immediately wipes it all out, everything constitutional about Canada, and they are forced, absolutely, to pursue constitutional conventions over a 1 to 2 year period. Not decades and decades more of elect the left, elect the right, watch the country go down the toilet. Folks, we're done. You know the record amount of money you need to sustain you and your family in Canada today. None of us make it, even those at the high end of the trades. We don't even make it anymore. I was looking at what you need to make just in Ontario, never mind BC, Quebec. It's impossible. This is a massive 2/3 of our population. It's over. You're existing, and less than that, you're devolving down. Ready to take the transition into a second world status, from first world to second world. It's all rolled out, not just Canada. They didn't specifically list our nation, Canada, but they don't have to. It's easy for me to assess that when I know it's UK, France, European nations, Commonwealth nations, absolutely Canada, worst of the worst, as we're positioned to trade the most with the United States. And we're losing all of it. And who's doing that? Yeah, Mark Carney's doing it all. But who is behind Mark Carney all the way through all his publications? Was Mark Carney a part of the Liberal Party of Canada in 2011 as Bank of Canada, where he told us we need to transition to China? Was he liberal or conservative? Oh yeah, he was conservative, right? Was Pierre Poilievre part of that government? Did he vote for all that? Oh yeah, he did. Was Mark Carney instrumental in the Canada-China FIPA deal? Oh yeah, he was. Pierre Poilievre tells you today, if I get Prime Minister, I'm going to end that. Oh yeah, you're going to end that, right? You're going to end all the pipelines. You're going to end all of it. You're going to shut it all down. Well, why did you incept it entirely as the committee chair and head who had that brought, signed, sealed, certified by Stephen Harper? Wasn't that your portfolio? Because clearly it is. I have the CSIS reports. Anyone can get all the CSIS reports. You'll find all of your government officials are corrupted all the way through for many, many decades. Goes back a very, very, very long ways. Can you imagine what USA thinks of us when they read this? People posting false posts about how Donald Trump said this about Carney, that, and the Liberals are bad, but somehow the Conservatives are good. Those are lies against the President of the United States, who clearly and articulately, through Mike Waltz last night, goes into your government's malfunction. They don't need to list your parties. It's all of you. It's all of you Canadians who support that. It's all of you who continue this lie, continue lying that if I just vote for the other guy, flip, flop, like a windshield wiper blade. And you know it's true, and then you make claims that it was a rigged election. It's not rigged. Canadians flip, flop to the greatest liar. They always have. And they fantasize as they make up fake posts. A lot of what I call conservatives are making up a pile lately of fake Donald J. Trump truth social posts. You're only damning yourselves. You're only spreading lies, pretending that somehow Pierre Poilievre is beloved in America. But he did Joe Rogan. He went on that libertarian dope-smoking podcaster singing, he told me he liked him. Yeah, that's great. What's that going to do for the state of our economy and trade with the United States of America? Because they're shutting it all down, folks. They're shutting it all down. And not just them, the Liberals are doing it too. They're already marching. I don't hear Pierre Poilievre making a squeak or a squawk about any of the massive Canadian portfolios being dismissed all over the United States and Europe and all kinds of other first world economies. Apparently, Mark Carney wants to centralize national, socialist, and fascist, right? Just like all these projects that all the premiers ran to. I'm a conservative premier. Daniel Smith, how do you explain that? Scott Moe, how do you explain that? Doug Ford, how do you explain that? We can go on and on into the littler provinces. How do you explain that all the parties are together at the regional level for national socialist principles and paths forward? How do you explain that? It's Nazi, for fuck's sakes. What's wrong with you people? Oh, no, we're not just like Germany. 1933, under the Enabling Act. No siree, Bob. Not us. We're Canucks. Yeah, you are. You're there. All the legislation points to the same beat of drum, same path forward. You're going with China. You're in bed with Russia. whether you like it or not. China and Russia are like this. You and China like this means you and Russia are like this. Everything you say is a lie. Everything you share and go with the crown is an epic lie. I'm sorry to say it don't matter. Trump's out in the years to come and a new president comes. They're only going to roll off the same rollout. Same with Congress and Senate. Don't matter how many Democrats and Republicans. It don't matter. They're going to roll out the same rollout and go, yep, Canada's a piece of shit. Smash Canada. The sad part is there won't be a guarantee of a presidential veto removal like Donald J. Trump's. That's the most terrifying thing, that if this isn't done by the end of his term, or we're not on that path, we could suffer a great length of time, decades in fact. It's happened, upwards of 85 years for a state of the union to form after the fact. All depends. You don't know who Americans are going to elect. You don't know their mentality or what they think of all of you, Democrat or Republican. And don't bet your dollar on an ideal situation that somehow liberal equals Democrat or conservative equals Republican, because they don't. They don't. Americans get that. It's Canadians that don't. And this is what's really terrifying for me today, that people are living in such extreme fantasy outside of absolute reality that Canada, you are finished. There is nothing Mark Carney can do about it. He's debt loading you, putting up a brave front right now, a brave, fraudulent front to a world that won't take him in. Everyone in the media is going, we're going to get Mercosur, we're going to get Beijing. Well, the Asian Pacific Partnership, how come United States Republicans and Democrats alike won't sign on to it? Oh yeah, because American wages would crumble. But yet Mark Carney's running as fast as he can. And Mercosur too. The lower the wages, the better. The march to the second world status, the third world status. Let's get these Canadians there. They have too much anyway. Do you have too much in your Arctic country, Canadians? I know myself and my family don't. Barely getting by, everyone I know. Nobody's sitting there going, I can't wait, right? All the beautiful things I'm going to do with my life coming up. Nobody's saying that. People are hanging on for dear life. Yeah, you try to support your children, your family as best you can, and you worry for them. That's where I am as a Canadian. I don't know about the rest of you in La La Land. The only thing I can think of is that too many people are on the system, or too many people are benefiting from the bullshit system, and they're not willing to accept the reality of the evil they're participating with. Too much they're taking, and too much destruction on this country. Folks, that's my video. It's real, credible, verifiable. Everything rolled out from the United States of America. I believe likely my last email, although there's still Monday, Tuesday, but it's such an epic email I got. It's likely the last one, the one that puts the nail in the coffin for Canada. And Canada, you did it to yourself. USA didn't do anything to you. They're just not going to participate in your bullshit anymore. They're done wiping your bum, giving you a free ride where all the other 50 states of the Union have to pay. It's time for you to pay for your own ride, find your own way in the world. And if that's a march towards China, look out, because it's going to get worse. Folks, that's my video. Share. Get it out there. Don't live in the lie. Live in the light, the truth. That's the only way to salvation. God bless. Love you all. Bye now.